Koji has been hovering around the top spots for some time. With his win in Barcelona, he's announced his presence and he looks like a real contender for the championship at this stage. Montreal will be a much different test though, so we'll see how it plays out as we get ready to watch round 3 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is DJ Clark. Behind the scenes is our director, Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Today is less "Oh Say Can You See" and much more "Oh Canada" for the Lotus 79 community. Let's head to our track guide to learn a little bit more about Montreal. Welcome to Circuit Gilles Villenuve. Host of the Canadian Grand Prix for over 40 years, this track's popularity among fans refuses to wane. Although it has gone through a few alterations in its history, the nature of its layout has remained pretty much the same. That nature, of course, is that its 14 turns are mostly chicanes, split up by long straights to add up to a 2.7-mile street course-like canyon of a track. These 4.3 kilometers are mainly made up of actual streets on the man-made Ile Notre Dame, though portions are specifically built for the racetrack. But whether or not fans consider it a true street course, the close barriers that line the majority of the track don't care what you think. Places like the exit of Turn 4 and Turn 9 frequently collect the greedy. But these pale in infamy to the notorious Wall of Champions. Named for its penchant to collect F1 World Champions, the corner itself is called Quebec. Regardless, it's a finicky and tight chicane with a critical corner exit, so drivers are tempted into edging the car as close as they dare to the concrete. Despite the numerous heavy braking zones, passing can be difficult at times for certain types of cars. Often, attrition or cut course penalties play a bigger part in who finishes where. While sports cars and NASCAR have both made stops here, this place is mainly known for its history with Formula One. Named after what is easily Canada's most popular driver in the International Open Wheel Series, this semi-temporary circuit looks like it's actually here to stay for a long, long time. Well, DJ, this may be a crowd favorite for real Formula One, but with these Lotus 79s, how do you think it's going to be for the drivers today?
Well, Joe, it's gonna be tricky. You know, we normally think of Canada as one of those fast-flowing circuits on the Formula One calendar, but the truth is it's really a little bit more like a street race with some long straightaways on it. Drivers are gonna have to be very, very careful going through the second sector in the series of chicanes that make up that portion of the track, specifically in these Lotuses. Remember, the ground effect really, really helps these cars perform well at high speeds, but there's not that much mechanical grip on them, so they've got to be very careful and watch out for the curbing. Now, in terms of overtaking opportunities, there are a couple good chances here. Obviously, going down into the world-famous hairpin, maybe you can see something get done going by into the Wall of Champions, although that's very, very tricky. And then you could see a good fight or two going into the Senna S, that turn 1. But I think for a lot of this, it's going to be just about pushing the driver in front of you and trying to see if you can force an error or two.
Certainly, and well, errors here can often be costly, but let's see who's got the most at stake here in the championship in terms of those mistakes. Koji, of course, leading now after 2 podiums in a row. Gernot Frische still trailing behind him and not by much. Millward has been fast, as usually is expected of him in this series, but he's a ways behind at this stage. Tolan at only 4 points back from him, with Ove Tragrade not starting out too badly here in the season. What about the Classic Teams Championship, DJ?
Well, Joe, in that Classic Teams Championship, you can see there Warnsteiner Aero's racing team is on top, but only ahead by 4 points from equipped Renault Elf. Scuderia Ferrari Spa Sefik also not too far back from them with equipped Ligier Gitans and Unipart Racing Team making up this top 5, and it is so tight across the board. Only 8 points separating first from 5th, so that Teams Championship is all to play for.
Now, today's race, not going to have too many laps, 30 laps to finish out this race today with 36 max starters. Guess how many we have? a full 36-car field. It is going to be packed on this circuit. It's an open setup series, and they have some incident limits, but not expecting too many to actually reach those at this track, though the off tracks are a concern in the sense of the cut course penalties. That'll be something that we're keeping an eye on, as many drivers have suffered from that over the years, cutting through the many chicanes at this course. We are on the first flying lap for many of our drivers as we wait for them to set. Sometimes look like Michael de Turk is going to be the first at a 24.9. Olsen follows him up, and that's John Olsen, different Olsen from what we're used to seeing on here. Oh, Lino is now working his way towards that pole as he's only 3/10 off de Turk. Lake in there joining us from the Camel GT series. And there's our championship leader, Kochi, setting himself a fast lap in third.
Yeah, and here comes Gernot Friesche working his way around. And remember, Joe, that these tires do take a minute to heat up, so I wouldn't say that that first lap is going to be truly indicative of pace. We're really going to want to watch the second one. So we continue to ride on board with Friesche coming around the hairpin. You know, it's a deceptively tricky corner coming around there. It really is a wide exit, so you're able to take a lot of speed, and you don't need to slow down nearly as much as you think you do. So there's a lot of trust and confidence you need to build into the car to get it right.
Friesche dealing with a bit of temperatures today, 106 Fahrenheit, about 40 Celsius, as he drifts back across the track to try to line up the next lap. But what's the first one going to be for him? Oh, and that actually starts his first lap, so he has come out a bit late. He does have time to finish this up, but Gernot Friesche going to have to hustle to get this done. Millward, our provisional pole sitter right now, and 3/1000ths ahead of de Turk after Michael actually just finished his second lap, so he's done.
Yeah, so Michael's going to have some work to do. Here comes Lino. He just set in his second time, and that'll keep him in third for right now. Seeing some more times come across the board. Looks like Dubois was able to come in fifth. Kochi's going to bump his way up to third, and Mykonos looks like he's going to be in 12th, with Trengarade putting in a 7th best time.
Ngozi still yet to set a lap, unfortunately, but he should be back around again to try and go quicker as we once again watch Gernot Friesche, who now comes around the hairpin and flies down the rowing lake towards the infamous Wall of Champions. And Gernot has plenty of championships to his name. Let's hope he doesn't add his name to the wall as well.
Indeed. That wall obviously getting its nickname shortly in the 90s when, I believe, if I remember correctly, it was Villenuve, Hakkinen, and Schumacher all made contact. Whoa! Friesche there almost pulling a little bit of a Mika Hakkinen, getting that tail out to try to touch the wall. He's going to come across the line with a 25.2. That is not going to be enough for pole, but that will put him in 4th provisionally.
So I was looking for a little bit better of a qualifying time as we ride on board with them now through the first half of the course. And the narrowness of this place, you can just see all the trees and walls alongside, just how quick they wheel around here.
Yeah, it really, really keeps you on your toes. And, you know, you mentioned the off tracks, Joe. One of the things that makes this track so unique is the fact that there's a lot of grass combined with the walls around here. And so what that does is it actually limits your margins, because if you get up onto that grass, it'll really throw the car out of whack coming through that final chicane before he sets himself up at the hairpin. You see that Lotus 79 sliding a little bit as Friesche just pushes as hard as he can.
Not many drivers left that still need to set a time, as most have completed their 2 laps. I see Ryan Kane out there still working on his second lap along with Friesche. Barry West is among those, James Ngozi, and I think Timothy Reed might come out and try. No, it looks like he's come to a pause. So let's watch Friesche finish out this second one. Can he manage to go quicker and at least get on the front row, if not pole position? He's got to make up about 0.3 of a second. It's a 25 flat. That's 0.2 quicker. So he's going to stay in 4th.
Not going to move with that. Here comes Ngozi here. Currently in 31st is the Floridian in that bright orange machine. Let's see how he takes the hairpin. All right, he's going to... That's not the line you want to take, I think, there. That's not what I would recommend, so that's definitely going to cost him some time.
Yeah, looks like he went a little bit wide. So we skip over to Barry West instead. He's the next to be able to set a time, but we're running out of the clock. And the number 17 has a 27.2 on the board. Good enough for 25th. Second one does not count. So lap deleted for Barry West. Agozi, I'm guessing with that clip, is probably not going to have this one count either. And that's going to be the last driver to be able to set a time. Going through the starting order, Millward takes the pole. 2 bonus points to him with the Turks starting next to him. Then it's Kochi, our championship leader, starting from 3rd. Frisha chasing him so far in this season will be next to him. Lino will start in 5th with Christophe Dubois in P6. And it's Hankel in 7th. He had a lot of action last round. Phil Lake, let's see how he does with an open wheeler starting from P8. It's Ove Trangrade in 9th and Jukka Tolinen rounding out your top 10.
It's going to be Paul Williams in 11th, followed by Pecco Risto in 12th. Javier Sanchez and Nicolas Mucanos are going to make up row 7, followed by Pablo Suarez and Timothy Reed. Gerard Burrell is going to be 17th, followed by John Tackaberry, and Armando Edwards and Paulo Alberton will round out your top 20.
Cristiano Correni in 21st will be followed by Alex Ramirez in 22nd. Daniel Banker, P23. Moreland will start in the 24th position, followed by Barry West, who we saw unable to take a second time. Simpkins on his outside, followed by Kane, Olsen, and Guerrero, with Leon rounding out your top 30.
31st is James Agozi, followed by Francisco Lopez with Christoph Bargano, Eugenio Massa, Bill Krause, and Adriano Alves rounding out your field.
It's a real danger zone coming into this first corner with a standing start. We'll see if the drivers can handle it. They won't get red flags like we used to see at this era of Formula One if they have a huge incident. So the drivers will have to try and keep it safe. So we wait for, I believe, Sanchez, Lopez, and Bronyart to come to the grid. They're the last 3 that need to line up, and then we'll get going for round 3 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series. And we might have a couple of them start from the pit lane, as I can already hear the engines rev. Yes, they will, as the green flag is out. And Millward is pretty decent off the line. to Turk going to try and challenge him anyways the long way around, but he has to slip back into second. Behind them, they're all filing into the first couple corners of the SNS. We got a spinner. That's Timothy Reed. A few more are going to have to scatter to avoid him, and there are some serious problems in the back as the leaders are through fine, and a challenge for the lead.
Yeah, indeed. This is going to get a little bit spicy here. to Turk and Millward trying to go at it into that second chicane. Ooh, trying to go around the outside there. It'll switch back to the inside, but runs out of room, and it's going to stay in the order that we started.
Does Kochi have the ability to take advantage of that tussling? Doesn't look like it. He's a bit far back, but look at the straight line speed of de Turk already gathering back up Millward. Did he trim it out in hopes of trying to be able to overtake that little bit easier? He'll get the best chance at it out of Lepingle here.
He will indeed, and that's something we did not talk about, Joe, is the setup changes you can make going into it. I see a little bit of battle in the back there. I believe that's around for Williams. But the setup changes that you can make trying to maximize top line speed down this back straightaway. de Turk here looking like he's got a good run on Millward. He may try something going down into the final chicane.
I think that he has put that wing as low as he can go. A little bit of a peek in the background from Frisha on Kochi, but he's too far back to try and attack. Same thing with de Turk. Doesn't actually go for the move. And the first time past the wall of champions in anger, most of the field is getting through okay.
Indeed, they are riding on board here with 9th place of Paul Williams, breaking down into the Senna S and starting to accelerate back through this twisty middle sector. There is the battle, though, for 4th. That's Frisha, Lino, Dubois, and Lake. Very, very tight there across the board.
Yeah, Lino just right behind the multi-time champion. Unable to get by that time through behind him. Kind of tight between Dubois and Lake. Lake up one position from where he started this thing. We hop on board with him, watching as he hounds Dubois, but can't quite get there into turn 8.
Yeah, can't make it work there, and that is a hard area to try to make a pass work. So let's see what he does. Is he going to be close enough to do anything? No, but this is going back to that battle for up front. Leaders start to spread out a little bit. De Turk trying to still chase down Millward.
So last time he looked like he had a good run. Let's watch this time from on board Tolinen, a little farther back. Another driver known for liking a very fast car in a straight line. De Turk not able to get there. What about for Tolinen? Nope, he's still going to have to stick behind Ove Trangrade coming out of the wall of champions. Trangrade himself actually very tight up behind the gearbox of the number 12.
And there you see De Turk setting the fastest lap of the race. And one thing you mentioned there, Joe, coming through the wall of champions, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of guys having to lift going into the final chicane only to set themselves up for a better pass going into turn 1. That's really the optimal time. Checking back up here on the leaders, though, I believe De Turk looks like he's losing a little bit of ground, and he may be falling into Kochi's clutches here.
It does look like that because he's a full second behind Alex now. Kochi only about half a second back as they come along the river down towards the braking to turn 8 underneath the bridge. Behind them, we can see Lino as well is all over the back of Freesia, but not quite close enough. Lepingle often offers up chances to pass. Don't think we'll see it here, and no, he's going to stay in line.
No, he's not, but it does look like Phil Lake took a little poke down the inside there of Christophe Dubois. Lake's able to get the move done, and he can move himself up to 6th place.
Ooh, and we've had an incident in the back. I think Moreland involved in that along with Daniel Banker. This was in turn 8 as well. Still a battle on screen. Coming back at it with Lake having to defend on Dubois, and Dubois has to cut the course going through the runoff. He'll get a big slowdown penalty from that. Hankel gets a spot as he now is promoted to 7th, Lake into 6th.
And Joe, that's exactly what I was talking about in trying to force drivers into mistakes. Whoa, Tolinen trying to go the long way around Paul Williams there. Not exactly going to work out. He's going to have to pull it back and see what else he can do.
Yeah, Moreland, remember, trying to make up some ground after being involved in that incident. So, as the drivers now head into turn 6, you can see this is the fight between Dubois, Williams, Trangrade, and Tolinen, separated pretty equidistantly amongst each other as they come under the bridge. We're only on lap 4, and already we've seen a fair bit of action, but at the same time, it does look tough to get close to your rival.
Yeah, it certainly does, Joe. Not exactly as much aerodynamic effect as I would have expected to see. It may change a little bit. Remember just how sensitive these cars are to changes in weight. As these drivers burn off fuel, the car will get a little bit twitchier. It'll get looser, and it'll be a little bit harder to drive. That rear end will want to step out a little bit more. So we may see a little bit more action start to develop as we get into the latter stages of this race.
We've hopped on board with Kochi, who's still chasing hard on De Turk and keeping him honest. This looked at first like De Turk was going to be the one to watch out for, as we got a pass between Hankel and Lake. Hankel's trying it, but Lake's defending as they come out of the Senna S, and it looks like he'll able to rebuff him, but I think this is not over, and they're bringing more friends into the fray. Dubois, Williams, Trangrade are all hungry for a chance to sneak up on the driver in front.
Yeah, they very, very much are. No real passing able to happen there into that chicane complex. It's a very, very tricky braking zone to get exactly right and carry as much speed as you can out on the exit. It looks like Hankel's losing just a hair bit of ground here coming on as we ride on board in the back. I believe that's with Trangrade. You can see that those cars really starting to fan out. Maybe somebody's going to be aggressive here and try to make a move down into the hairpin.
So as they size one another up, another little peek from Dubois, or excuse me, from Hankel on Lake, but isn't able to do anything with it. Look at him snake out of Lepingle there, coming down alongside the rowing Lake. And this will be the best spot to try and pull some of that slipstream. They all look very close from this shortened angle here down the straight, and yet as we hop on board Trangrade, it looks miles away to the car in front.
Yeah, it really does. And I've been keeping an eye here on Andreas Henkel. It looks like coming out of the hairpin, he's losing a little bit of time, maybe just a little bit of wheel spin, something like that. Not really able to get the power down as he'd like to.
He's getting awful close. Oh, and behind him, we might have a pass for Tolinen. Trangarade is under attack. This is for the 10th position. He's going to defend to the inside, down into turn 4. Can he actually stick this one around the outside? He's going to try it. Tolinen, though, gets wheel spin, and he starts to slip back. He could have a second bite at the apple into turn 6 if he's brave. He is. This battle continues through multiple chicanes as they're both sliding around the corner, and with wheels burning, they come off of turn 7 onto the backstretch with Trangarade now having the inside, but he finally gives up on it.
That was some of the best synchronized driving I've seen in a long time. Both cars perfectly sliding around there and proving me wrong that you can't make a pass into that second chicane complex. Absolutely incredible from Tolinen and Trangarade.
Car we saw off was Alves. That's a lapped car, so no need to worry. No positions gained from that. Out of Lapingle once again. Tolinen ahead. It took him a few corners, but he's got it done. Can Trangarade fight back? He's going to try and reel him in down the rowing lake, and it just doesn't look possible.
Yeah, not really able to do it there. You see that little bit of back off. Let's see if that's so he can set up a better run coming out of the Wall of Champions. Looks like Tolinen's got enough speed to make it hold, though.
Ahead of them, this is this is Lake and Henkel, rather, as they come out of the Senate S down towards turn 3. Henkel not having quite the same action as we saw last lap between Trangarade and Tolinen, but still just hunting down. Ooh, and maybe could have a look. Nope, not into turn 6 here on Phillip Lake. Phil coming off some great racing recently over in the Camel GT series, although fell afoul of some lap traffic back at Brands Hatch yesterday morning. We'll see if today goes a little bit better with quite a few cars here at Montreal.
Yeah, exactly. Jumping back up here to Kochi. Kochi's going to take a dive down to the inside to try to maybe get something done on Deturk. Deturk is absolutely undeterred, though. Keeps on his normal racing line, and that's going to cost Kochi a couple of tenths.
Not just to Deturk, but to Freesia as well. You can see him in the Renault just behind them. Taking a peek, just showing his nose in the mirrors, nothing doing. Let's jump a little bit back as Williams has got himself a nice little fight with Dubois. Coming down side by side, it's a game of chicken that Dubois wins.
Indeed it is. I think Williams backed off a little bit there. Didn't want to go side by side going through that final chicane. Very heads up play. Let's see if he's able to fight back at all. But he is going to have to be careful as they've got Trangarade and Tolinen closing in. We had our first victim of the Wall of Champions, the number 13 of Timothy Reed, unfortunately. Looks like he might have to end his day prematurely as he took a big thwack into that one. We're continuing to watch the fight here as Kochi holds on third ahead of Freesia, but also tries to chase Michael Deturk. They're only on lap 8 here, early days of this race. Looking good once again. This is where we saw him attack before. Oh, and this is Paul Williams. Oh my goodness, 4 of them under a blanket, and the one taking advantage is Jukka Tolinen coming down the inside. They're going to be 2 by 2, Noah's Ark down into Lapingle. Are they going to be able to come out the other side? Tolinen goes deep. Tolinen goes very deep, a little bit of lockup, but that's still not going to put him out of the fight. It looks like, though, Trangarade's a little bit hungry. He's going to be side by side now is Tolinen with Paul Williams. Trangarade looking for something, anything, trying to follow in the best draft that he can.
Almost sounded like Williams got on the radio, told him he could have the spot, and he is going to get into line. So that's sorted out much more calmly than I would have anticipated. Dubois 8th, Tolinen 9th now, Williams 10th, and Trangarade still in 11th.
Whew. That very good bit of racing there that did not end in danger. That is just some heads-up driving all around. Jumping back, though, to that battle for P2. Kochi's still hot on the heels of Michael Deturk ahead of him.
And Henkel made the pass. Henkel got by Phil Lake into turn 3. Can we get a replay of this? It is so hard to make that one stick there, but he started it in the Senna S. You're going to see it here. I think Hankel, or was he ahead of him already? He was ahead of him.
Yeah, I think this is Phil Lake on the attack potentially here. Comes through the hairpin. Oh, there it is. Henkel had a little bit of a bobble, caught that inside curd, and that allowed for Lake to come back by.
So it wasn't attack, it was defense. And Lake ahead of him right now as we come back live. They're still very, very close to one another. Behind them, I think Dubois and Tolanen were fighting. Oh, as we go side by side. Oh, no, and shoved off course. That was de Turk. He's going to get a slowdown penalty, I would imagine. How is he not slowing down yet?
I think he actually did there, Joe. The problem is that Kochi got very, very sideways coming through the wall of champions, and that blunted his momentum enough for de Turk to be able to fight and get the slowdown. Oh, but here comes Kochi trying to take a look down into the first set of chicanes. Not going to happen there, but he is right up the gearbox, and Frisha right behind them.
Oh, big slide there from Kochi. He's going to try it into the next corner. He knows he's got him under attack. Oh, they come together. Kochi's into the wall. Oh, no. And here comes, Lino. Where did he come from? He got by Frisha and de Turk.
Hoy, patience being the better part of valor there. Absolutely amazing. Let's go back and check out the replay here. Let's ride on board with Lino. Now, I have to say this was an aggressive move from Kochi, but perfectly within the rules, and I would call this a racing incident as these two came together, tried to give each other enough room, just a little bit of contact.
Wow.
That is incredible driving from Lino, just being able to recognize where it is and put your foot down.
Raise your staff, the seas have parted, as Lino just escaped any sort of incident going between both of them. No! Oh, no! Another hit from de Turk. Now it takes out Lino, but this is Frisha's gain. As he moves up into second, he might lead the championship after today.
May indeed. I want to take a look at this, Joe, because I'm not really sure what happened to de Turk here. This is very unlike him. Didn't see a lot of brake smoke coming off the car, so I don't think he locked up the tires. He just may not have anticipated how early Lino was going to brake. Yeah, there you go. I just think Lino was taking a little bit more of a conservative line into that final chicane, and de Turk was just not ready for it.
Lino's able to continue, but de Turk sadly has come into pit lane. No, de Turk is still stationary on the course. Now, this won't impede anybody. He's off the racing line and out, actually off the track itself, as we now look at Hankel. A lot of drivers promoted by those incidents. Hankel now fighting for fourth instead. Kochi dealing with damage on his car. Oh, my goodness, look at the rear wing of that thing. I doubt he's got speed after that.
No, I think you're right, Joe. That thing is crumpled up like a piece of paper, just not really going to be able to get the rear end grip that he needs. And that is especially important in these super high-powered Lotuses where you've got so much torque coming through those big back tires.
Yeah, look at that. Easy, easy pass here for Hankel. That will get him into fourth place, and Lake promoted now up onto the podium. So this is going to be a case of limping home for our championship leader, who will probably have to give that up after today is done. But this man has been leading almost since the drop of the green. He's had a few challenges along the way, but has successfully managed to hold back all comers. So Millward looking to be our third different winner in 3 races.
Indeed, and we are just getting some news on that incident with de Turk. He had a mechanical issue on his rig. It looked like a brake pedal failure.
Many a racer, even in the real world, understand those pains. As Ramirez down for 18th, making an aggressive move into the Senna S, and a successful one at that.
Yeah, really making it work there and sticking it around. Looks like a little bit of a fight back being attempted, but I don't think it's going to go.
So West stays in 19th, having gained a number of positions himself. He qualified 25th. So Barry up that little bit higher. What about behind them, though? This is Correni with Kane just behind him. Kane sporting Trangrage's typical paint scheme on it. But he slides through 3 and 4 and loses a bunch of time, so that battle looks to have abated.
Yeah, it looks like it's slowing down a little bit. We were right on board here with Paul Williams. Now that's Lino right up ahead of him. He's going to be hoping to be able to keep up a little bit of pressure on him. And remember, Lino was the one that was able to get that amazing move done.
But now he's dealing with damage after he got punted by the Turk with his problems with his brake pedal. So how fast can he be? Can he be fast enough to hold off the 12?
We'll have to see if he can. It looks like he's losing a little bit of ground here, just ever so slightly as they go along, but a little bit squirrely there from Lino, I have to say, coming after that chicane too.
Well, let's see if this one's a little bit better this time as they come down into turn 8. Yeah, that looks a lot smoother from the blue machine. Oop, and we hop in front of them to Tolinen, who's chasing on Kochi. He's the next one that's trying to overtake the Italian. Didn't get enough of a run coming down into Lepingle, but he'll get a second shot now.
Indeed, he will. And as we talked about, that crumpled rear wing, that's going to take a lot of speed off the top of the car. Indeed, there goes Tolan out to what will be the inside. Easy breezy.
5 miles an hour quicker along the straight there for Tolinen. So yeah, Kochi's going to be suffering all day long. He's going to tuck into the slipstream. Will he try and fight back is the question. Heavy defense at first from Tolinen. Holds it in the middle of the track, braking for the corner. Kochi doesn't have enough underneath him.
Yeah, Kochi's trying his best, but as we said with that rear wing, it's really going to be a problem. Now, this is going to be interesting. That's Lino coming up behind him. We were talking about the battle between him and Paul Williams. If Kochi holds up Lino here a little bit, that could really be a blessing for Williams to be able to close in.
It's a bit of a meeting of the Turk Grievances Club here as they might be passed by Paul Williams up next. It does seem that Lino has a bit more speed than Kochi, having been hit in a completely different way. And yes, he does. He's going to try and poke his nose in down into turn 8. Kochi almost chops him off. He's fighting for every position he can get. He doesn't want this to be a drop week.
No, he does not, and he's perfectly entitled to do that. That car does have enough speed to make it competitive there. Here comes Williams down to the inside of Lino, trying to make it work through the hairpin. They're going to be side by side on corner exit, and it's a drag race now down this long backstretch.
And Williams cost himself an opportunity there. A bad exit. He will get the slipstream, but here comes Trangarade on top of it. Could get a 3-wide situation. Williams going to show his nose and then think better of it.
Yeah, he's not going to go there. I think he may be hoping for a little bit of a holdup for Lino coming off of the wall of champions. He is very close here. His problem's going to be, though, is that Lino's also getting the benefit of the draft from Kochi in front of him. So here they come down into the Senna S. Lino closing in on Kochi. And, ooh, little bit of offline driving there from Paul Williams.
So that costs him a few car lengths. He could probably gain these back here as he seems to have more pace than these two, but he's being held up significantly. Remember, he wasn't too far back. In fact, he was in a fight with Tolinen earlier on in the race, so he's being cost quite a bit of time.
Yeah, he really is getting pulled back in. Lino looks like he's got a pretty good run here, though. We saw him try this move last time out. Under the bridge, they're going to be side by side into the braking zone. Lino looks like he's got him, and indeed he does.
Little deep into the corner, though, and Kochi sees it. He'll ride the slipstream down towards Lepingle. He's going to try and fight back yet again. He thinks about it and then realizes he can't attack there. So next on his list, Williams. Is he going to be able to hold him back, or is this going to be an easy pass?
Well, we've seen Williams have some pretty good straight line speed there. You can see the closing distance. He's going to dive to the inside. Looks like it's going to be a relatively easy pass if Kochi lets him by here. And it's not going to make it super easy, but Williams able to make the move stick.
Oh, and some wheel spin off of the wall of champions. Here comes Trangarade. That's 2 and 2 corners for Nicola Kochi. The Norwegian still has to get the job done down into the Senna S, and he slides it into the corner. Looks like he's got it.
Yeah, he does indeed have it there. So that's another position that Kochi has lost. We now ride on board with Christophe Dubois in 10th. Whoa, as he takes a little Sebastian Vettel-style excursion there through the first chicane.
Don't think that's the racing line. So he doesn't lose his spot, but he was a little bit closer to Kochi. He'll have to try and reel him in over the next few laps, having served that slowdown penalty. I will say that I'm quite impressed. We kind of, behind the scenes, were a little bit doom and gloom about this race as we watched the battle for 22nd coming down into the wall of champion chicane, and Guerrero is going to let Correni get by, or is he? Oh, he has to take evasive action off the turn. Slow exit from Cristiano.
Very, very slow, almost brushed into that wall.
Slowdown penalty for Fabio. Well, that was interesting. I didn't think he was that far into the corner, but I suppose he was. There's something. That was very weird. We now head over to Pablo Suarez instead in the 12th spot, chasing Sanchez. I was going to say, DJ, that I'm very impressed with the way the drivers have been handling this course. It's a single split, which means a lot of variety in skill levels, but we've only seen a couple of DNFs today, so everybody's been very, very well behaved.
Indeed they have, Joe. Everybody keeping their stuff together very, very well. Just some good action up and down the board. Here's Gerard Burrell in 14th right now. That is Mucanos ahead of him, working their way by some lap traffic, and they are both in a nice little battle here for 13th.
Between Mucanos and Lake, bit of a Camel GT invasion here today. As they come off of 6 and 7. It looks like Nick's got a little bit better pace than Burrell, at least for the time being. And coming down the main straight, we are looking at the battle that we were watching before once again. And Guerrero is going to give up to Correni. Once again, Kane now coming up to the back of him, seeing if he can also snatch a spot.
Ooh, getting a little feisty going down into the Senna S there. Guerrero trying to see what he can do. Working around on Correni. Tries to carry a little bit more speed, but that's going to let the tail slide out.
This is already a lap down from our leader, and we're barely past the halfway mark. Millward having already overtaken this trio. Sizing them up down into turn 6. Nothing doing for Guerrero on the back of Correni as we once again head forwards to Ove Trangarade. He and Williams have disposed of Kochi and are now fighting for 7th.
They are indeed. Trangarade trying to hunt him down. We've seen constantly, time in and time out in this Lotus 79 series, the patience of Ove Trangarade really pay off. And I think that's what he's doing here, just trying to stalk Paul Williams a little bit. Now, obviously, he's got about a 2.5 second gap up the road to Michelino, but he is just trying to do what he can with the number.
This is one of our closest fights on the track right now, coming down towards Lepingle. As Trangarade breaks heavy into that hairpin, trying to get it off smoothly onto the power. You can see a tiny little wiggle from the 12 in front of him, but it doesn't appear to be enough to try and attack as they start to pick up pace. Already 165 miles an hour by the time they get onto the brakes. And yeah, Trangarade just a little bit too far back, but he could have a better exit here.
Indeed he did. I think that was Williams taking a little bit too much of the exit curbing. That's going to be Trangarade poking his nose to the inside of the Senna S. He's going to be ahead as they go into the braking zone. Williams maybe looking for an over-under that's not going to materialize.
Smooth stuff from the number 11 to get himself into 7th position. Can he start to run away from Williams is the next question out of this, as they've seemed to have had similar pace to one another, but that was with Trangarade behind him. This could be a different story now that he's got clear air. Well, this has unfortunately robbed us of one of the better battles. So we take a look at our leader, give him some love. This has not been a battle these last few laps. Frisha a full 12 seconds behind from him.
Yeah, Alex Miller really just feeling like he's got the run of this course down. Very, very solid. Here is that battle that we said we were going to check out. That is Williams watching Trangrade just disappearing into the distance a little bit.
He's got up to 0.4 of a second right now. He's just going to follow in his slipstream. See what that'll offer him here. But like we saw with Trangrade a little bit ago, actually a lap ago, he's a little too far back. I have to hope for same thing that he did, a poor exit off of the final chicane, which he is not going to get. Trangrade nice and tidy is side-by-side action with the group we've checked in on here and there. Kraus, unfortunately, is going to go wide. Cristiano going to be able to snatch up 22nd, but this is all happening right ahead of P2. Great sportsmanship by all involved, even in the midst of a battle, able to manage the blue flags.
Indeed, very, very heads up all the way around. You gotta love to see that, Joe.
Prix should love seeing that because he didn't lose as much time as he maybe could have feared in that situation. For sure is a big lockup there behind them. I think that was Simpkins in the 26 car, but he didn't have too much of an issue. He's continuing to let our other drivers by. Williams not letting go. So we wondered whether Trangrade would be able to stretch away. So far in these 2 laps that he's been ahead, the answer has not been a resounding yes. But I wouldn't also completely call it a no yet.
No, not quite yet. It looks like he's able to just keep this relatively competitive as Millward, just for good measure, sets the fastest lap of the race.
Now, this is a close battle, and the one between Lake and Hankel going past another lapped car. Kraus just making sure to give them a great opportunity through on the front stretch. Yeah, Hankel's been making sure to keep Phil pretty honest today. They're going to have to go past Cristiano here in just a moment as they're approaching the back of the number 19.
Yeah, that traffic is going to cause a little bit of a problem if they're not careful, but they'll have to keep an eye, try to everybody be heads up here, working their way through those chicanes. Ooh, number 4 getting a little bit squirrely.
So Lake gets to the inside. Cristiano sees him coming, holds off to the left, lets them both through at a very good time. Very glad to see how much the drivers have been aware of the situations around them in today's event. Williams still only 0.3 of a second behind Ove Trangrade. So they will be coming upon some of this traffic as well pretty soon.
Yeah, indeed they will. Jumping back to that battle, Williams keeping this very, very close. Lost a little bit of time coming out of the hairpin. A little odd there that he's not completely following behind in the slipstream. I'm not entirely sure what his objective is there, unless he's maybe just trying to set up for a move in a little bit later part of the lap.
Both of them weaving through the right, left, and and Hankel might have gotten by. He did through turn 1. The Senna S awards a podium position to Hankel over Phil Lake.
And I
take a look at the replay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I believe this is partially, that's Guerrero there in front. You can see Lake got held up through no fault of Guerrero's. It just where he caught the traffic, and Hankel very heads up to recognize where that move was and to go on the attack.
And do it the long way around to the first apex. That's mighty impressive from the number 4. So we've seen Lake and Hankel swap positions a couple times. Will they be able to do it anymore in these final 9 laps? Still plenty of opportunities to try and trade it around. The question is, does Lake have the legs left in it? Oh, a little wide there at Lepingle.
Yeah, that's going to hurt Hankel a little bit, but he is able to carry a little bit more exit speed by running wide. Don't know if Lake's going to be able to fully make this work. He looks a little far back, but he may be able to have a move going down. Now, that is just ahead of them. They're passing by. Excuse me, that's Guerrero that they just got by. No real cost to either driver. Coming out of the wall of champions, it doesn't look like Lake's going to have it.
At least not this lap. 8 laps to go now. Millward up to 14 seconds ahead of Freesia. There he is on screen in the number 5. And Millward coming off of a second place last race, trying to see if he can beat out Kochi and take the victory away from him.
Trying to see if he can do it, but I'm not sure he's going to be able to. Focusing there on Millward again. That gap up to 14 seconds. A very impressive display here.
Still have 27 of our 36 starters running. I think some of them were DNS today, it seems, because I only see 34 with lap time set. So a few maybe chickened out even after signing up for this race. I don't blame him too much. The difficulty of this car and track combo. Speaking of difficulties, what a day it's been for the number 2. Can he stay within the top 10? It's not looking likely because this is Dubois half a second back, and then it's Sanchez immediately following.
Yeah, and as we've said before with Kochi, that rear wing damage just absolutely destroying him in terms of straight line speed. Here comes Dubois, about 0.6 of a second back right now. I don't think that's really going to be enough to maybe be able to close it down here going past the rowing lake, but he's certainly going to keep closing in.
And once he tries to attack, if it's not along a straight, that'll help Sanchez narrow the gap himself. So we once again head back to Williams for the eternal struggle for 7th. And the Norwegian, looking over his rear wing, for now is safe.
Yeah, safe for the moment. Williams got very, very close coming through the hairpin, but I think his entry compromised him a little bit. Little bit of a wiggle there from Ove Trengrade. That car not looking great on corner entry, but he's able to get a very good exit off the corner and keep Williams at bay.
Ooh, we missed it because we cut away, I think, just before it happened. Dubois made a big slide, a big mistake in the Senna S, and he is now much farther away from Kochi. And in fact, Sanchez is trying to see if he could do something here.
Yes, he is trying to take advantage of the draft. I think Sanchez is going to go. He's going to be forced to go around the long way here, around the hairpin. If he can just keep a nose in it, momentum can help him out. He's not going to be able to get it there, but he is going to be able to tuck back into the draft of Christophe Dubois. This could be a good spot for Sanchez.
The best news that Kochi could have had, and he's going to duck his nose to the inside. Looks like Dubois not going to fight this one too hard. Lets him break to the inside into the wall of champions, and Sanchez is now within the top 10.
Good run there for Sanchez, just taking advantage of his competitors' mistakes.
So will Sanchez now be able to run down Kochi, or will this fight continue and give Nicola a hope that he could actually finish within the top 10? 6 more laps now. And we hop over to Phil Lake instead. 2/10 behind Andreas Henkel. This is for the final podium step. It's been a very good day for Lake, starting from 8th. But Henkel has matched him starting from 7th. They've each gone up 4 spots.
Yeah, everybody really moving their way up through the field, taking advantage of a lot of the attrition that we've seen out on the track today. And that's going to really throw a wrench into some of the points standings here. Continue to watch here. Lake starting to close up behind. He knows he's only got 5 to go at the line, so I think it is now or never time for Phil Lake.
Got to start doing something. He, to his credit, he has been looking while we were watching other battles. I did see that he was poking and prodding in certain cases where he got close enough, but wasn't really near enough to make a serious attempt, as we once again watch over his shoulder up towards his rival.
Whoa! Big squirrel there from Henkel. This could be the moment.
Does he cover off the inside? Sort of does. Half-hearted defense there from Henkel, but it's enough to dissuade Lake, who tries for the good exit out of turn 7. Here goes another chance. This time he goes all the way down to the inside. Henkel's not going to let him know. He's going to come back. He opens the door, but he's confident and he's smart. Lake couldn't manage to get the overlap.
No, he couldn't, and got a little squirrely there off the exit of the corner, but he's still going to be very, very close here. Don't think he's going to be close enough to make an overtake into the hairpin, and indeed, there you see just trying to take a little bit of a narrower line to see if he can maybe get a good jump there, but that wider line paying dividends for Andreas Henkel, able to pull away a little bit. Lake's going to have to pray to the gods of the draft now.
As Millward continues to set fastest lap after fastest lap up front, Phil Lake still hunting down Andreas Henkel. And these two appear to be pretty much dead on, evenly matched amongst each other. Neither one able to stretch away from the other in any of these 30 laps of racing. Down through the Senna S, they come upon Agozi, who dutifully pulls to the side for them.
Yeah, that's not going to cause them too much trouble. Now, remember, this is where Lake looked very strong on the last lap. Let's see if that happens again. Henkel had that bobble through the second chicane here. Does he have it now? Breaking down, they come through. Looks pretty good for both drivers.
I don't think we talk enough how much these are a driver's car. This is completely analog. There is no aids to help them. It is just you and the car, and trying to do whatever you can with your in-car controls, such as the brake bias. And so far, Phil Lake has been using it to great effect. Oh, wide there. Maybe he's trying to square it off, Henkel. Oh, but he's slipping up. So is Lake off the corner. Looks like Lake got it worse.
Indeed he did, and talking about this being a driver's car, one of the things to keep in mind is, as we've mentioned a couple of times, with the wheel spin there you saw Lake having, just how careful you have to be on throttle input. Very easy to spin the rear tires and very easy to get this car sideways. It does have a lot of slip angle in it. You obviously don't want to use that slip if you're trying to just go as fast as possible, but you are able to really get it sideways and recover well.
I think Sanchez is about to make the move, or tried to make the move on Kochi, but unable to make it stick. We're looking at Williams now, who is just behind Trangarade. Similar situation, just having a peek here and there. Doesn't quite work though. Oh, Kochi had a big slide just now coming out of the Senna S. I don't know how he held on to the end, actually gained time over Sanchez in the process. Can we get a replay of this one?
Well, there you go, Joe, talking about getting this car sideways. Let's watch on board with Nicola Kochi here, and I can show you exactly what I was talking about. Going down into the braking zone for the Senna S, catches a little bit of the curb, gets on it there. That's just a twofold matter there, Joe. I think he used a little bit too much throttle coming through the corner, spun the tires, and he got those right side tires up onto the curb, and that upset the balance of the car.
Amazing stuff there from Kochi. As I said, he still managed to get away from him, unless that was a checkup there from Suarez, or Sanchez rather, that he was making sure that he stayed safe and didn't get caught up in someone else's wreck. Lake, though, holding on right to the back of Henkel. That gearbox just has a front row seat to Phil Lake's nose. And now they're down to 2 laps to go. You talked about it being do or die time. Lake's got to do something soon.
Yeah, he really and truly does. He knows he's got it in. You can see him trying to carry as much speed as possible. Through the second chicane, they both go. Lake taking a little bit more curb, but that really comes out to his benefit. He is now going to be fully behind the gearbox of Henkel, but Henkel able to get a little bit more on the final part of the corner. Here he goes looking to the inside. Is Lake going to have a move? No, he's going to try to stick behind and do the same thing.
Oh, but he messes up the exit. A lot of oversteer there for Phil Lake. And he's got to regain that ground. He was so close. Let's see if he can do it here as they accordion together through Lepingle, trying to be a little bit smoother, and it does look like he made up some of the time.
Indeed he does. Whoa! But we've got Paul Williams doing a very late move down on Ove Trangrade into the hairpin, and he made it stick.
Trangrade could fight back here. He's going to have the slipstream. Will Williams have to give it right back up? He won't want to. He defends the inside. The Honda liveried Lotus is going to try and send it in deep on the brakes. He's got the nose ahead and the outside line and fighting it all the way through. Williams holds it wheel to wheel. Now it's another drag race yet again down to the Senna S.
And remember, this is going to be advantage Trengray going into this first part of this corner, but it looks like there that Williams able to carry a little bit more speed, forced to go wide. They're still going to be side by side. Who's able to get the better run out of that sequence of corners? There it is. It looks like it's Williams. Williams is ahead right now going into the first chicane, and he's got it.
And sliding it, here they go again. It's not over. Oh, but it's just too narrow coming through turn 5. And Trangerade can't do anything about it. In the meantime, we haven't even had time to mention we are on the final lap, which is about to become the checkered flag because Millward is up into the final chicane, past the wall of champions. It's been an impeccable race from the number 5, weaving in celebration. Millward is your winner here today. And Freesia a distant second, but here comes Phil Lake. This is a good one. This is going to be a last gasp effort down into the wall of champions, defending the inside. Hankel covers him off. What can Lake do? He can go for the over-under, and he jukes him. Look at that. And Lake is going to get the podium with a last lap pass.
Oh my goodness gracious, perfect amount of pressure there for Phil Lake, forcing Andreas Heinkel into a mistake. Let's watch this again, Joe. This was just absolutely amazing.
The man loves that even more is Tolanen, who snatched up 4th as Hankel had to serve a slowdown penalty before he got to the line. Wow. He just cut underneath him with inches to spare.
Really, really impressive there from Phil Lake, and you saw that car even wanted to get squirrely coming off of the line. Just absolutely amazing. Now, I believe this is Kochi and Dubois going into that same sector.
Yeah, this is a fight between these two, and as they come into that last turn, just didn't have enough to get past him at the line. 17 cars on the lead lap as Burrell also had a close one, but Alberton is our last as he just crosses now, which means that as we take one more glance at this finish. That was a bit of a weird maneuver there, but we're going to take a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12-Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Round 3 in the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix series saw a lot of fights, but it was only a fight for the lead in the first few laps as Millward, once he was able to get away from the Turk, just never looked back, and it was a full 18 seconds next to second place, which wasn't the Turk, but Freesia, who we believe will be potentially taking the championship lead from here. Phil Lake took a well-earned third in his incredible fight with Hankel, but it was Tolvanen who was fourth behind him as Hankel had to serve a slowdown penalty and wound up fifth. Lino was P6, followed by Williams in seventh. Ove Trangrade, P8. He was in a fight with Williams for much of this race as well. Sanchez did get by Kochi, taking ninth, but Nicola at least salvaged a top 10 out of it.
In 11th, it was Christophe Dubois, followed by Pablo Suarez. Nicholas Mucanos was 13th, followed by Gerard Borelli and John Tackaberry in 15th. Armando Edwards was 16th, followed by Paolo Albertson and Alex Ramirez. And rounding out your top 20, it was Barry West and James Agozi.
And it's Fabio Guerrero who finished in 21st, followed by Ryan Kane. Coriani in 23rd with Simpkins in P24. Kraus and Massa, the last two, one lap down. Then you get into those who had some big problems. Alves actually finished, but he was 5 laps down. Everyone beyond, unfortunately, was a DNF today. And I believe we have our winner ready to talk to us, Alex Millward. Let's pull him in and see what he thought of this race, because Alex, you had a bit of pressure at the start, but then once you managed to put some distance between yourself and Michael de Turk, it looked like it was kind of smooth sailing from there.
Yeah, hi guys. Just made sure I was out that first lap. Michael put on some really hard pressure on the first few corners, and then seemed like I was away, kind of cruising. I felt like I could carry on pushing. It was maximum track state today, so track usage, so it didn't feel as great as the earlier race, but yeah, as you say, just cruised.
It was a big field today, with the most we could possibly have in a single split at 36. I'm sure going in that made you a bit concerned, but now that we've had the race, how did you feel about the traffic and whatnot?
Yeah, I mean, you see that and it doesn't split. It's quite scary at this track because of all the chicanes. But yeah, for the majority, it was fine. People were coming out off the apex and moving past from the straights. So all very clever and smart from everyone today. So really appreciate it, guys.
Well, the good news for you is that Kochi had a bad day, so this might wind up being a drop week for him. But Freesia followed you home and kept you honest. I'm not sure. I'll have to try and do the math to see who's going to be leading the championship between you two after today. But this has to bode well for looking down the line after 3 rounds.
Yeah, I'm doing all right. I mean, obviously, there's some big starters missing the season, so I don't know if that's playing into it or just seemed to click this week. But of all the people to appear after a big wreck behind, it's the Red Baron, so Mr. Consistent's always chasing. It's going to be an interesting season.
I'm sure he'll fight you the whole way. Congratulations. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Yeah,
just my new wife, Tora, and all the Dirty Talk guys and everyone at the CTC. Cheers, guys.
Well, congratulations there to Alex Millward. Sounds like somewhat of a newlywed, as we now talk to our second place finisher. DJ has caught up with Gernot Freesia.
Well, Gernot, it looked like a relatively quiet race out there for you, save the first couple of corners, but obviously traffic coming into play a little bit. But how was it behind the cockpit?
Hi, DJ. It was quite a tough race because it was so busy on track with the race not being a split race. So we had some cars that had quite a pace difference, and yeah, it was a game of patience and waiting for your chances.
Well, in terms of waiting for those chances, I mean, what was kind of your strategy going in once the first couple of laps developed? We just heard Alex kind of talk about the first couple of laps of pressure that you were putting on him. Once he started to pull away, were you just sort of focusing on, keeping everything as calm as possible, or were you pushing hard to try to get that gap where it was?
Well, in the beginning, I tried to stay close to the podium position. So Michael and Nicola were in quite a fierce fight. So I tried to stay close to that. Yeah, mid race I was taking a little bit easier maybe, and in the end I tried to go fast again. I tried to somehow catch maybe the fastest lap. Got close, but not close enough.
Well, next week we head to another Formula One modern circuit in Hockenheim. Little bit different characteristics, obviously, than this one. A lot more room for runoff. How do you think that one's going to shake out?
Well, we've only been there once. I used to be really slow there, so I don't know if I'm still that slow there, or if something has changed this season that makes me a little bit quicker. It's really hard to say because for now, even with some fast guys missing, but I'm doing quite well without that much practice. So yeah, looking forward to Hockenheim again.
Well, we know we are as well. Gernot, anybody you'd like to thank for this podium here today?
As usually, thank you guys for doing great broadcasts all season long. It's always a pleasure, and yeah, congrats to Alex and Philip as well. So see you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye. That was your second place finisher there, Gernot Frische. And now Joe Peak is caught up with your third and final podium finisher, Philip Lake.
Yeah, Phil, better circumstances than we talked to yesterday. And man, what a battle you had with Hankel. I have to imagine you're grinning ear to ear.
Yeah, that was incredible. And that last corner, well, the whole last lap was pretty insane. And then the last corner move was just so good. Probably the best overtake I've ever done. So I'm really, really happy.
Talk about that last pass. How much of that was planned? Were you trying to get him to outbrake himself, and how much of that was just sheer luck?
Well, I had enough laps following him, so I kind of I don't actually know the guy, so I don't know like what his racecraft is like. So I was kind of trying to get a feel for it, and then leading into the last lap, I made that big mistake out of turn 3 and 4, and I thought it was over. And then I noticed that he made a mistake as well, and it was back on. And then I managed to go down his outside into Lepingle, which was to kind of ruin his line more than anything else. And then I set up a good exit onto the straight, because I was actually struggling to get alongside him on the straight. I don't know if he maybe was running a little less wing. Yeah, and then I basically just broke as late as I dare, and then kind of left it up to him whether he tried to outbrake me or not, and see what happened. And then I suddenly realized I was going to need to actually stop the car and like manage to get underneath him. Yeah, so it was kind of planned, but it was also a little bit of luck involved there.
You can ask for in racing. Well, I mean, this has to leave you feeling pretty good. So will we see more of you in the Lotus 79 cars for a while?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, I used to run this series all the time about 4 years ago, and I came back a couple of times, and I think the car's been through a few changes, and some of them I didn't like, and it seems like this most recent change is the car's really fun to drive. So yeah, I might show up for a few more of these.
We definitely would look forward to seeing you more often. Anybody you want to thank?
Yeah, all the Dirty Talk guys again, and Alex for giving me a few pointers today.
There from Phil Lake, getting some help from the Masters around here as we got one more interview. The man who finished 4th behind him, up from 10th. It's Yuka Tolan, and DJ is talking to him.
Well, Yuka, that was a very, very impressive run up through the field, obviously taking advantage of some of your competitors' misfortune. But how was it for you out there?
Yeah, well, that was, again, an exciting race. I think I climbed from P11 to P4. So, yeah, there was a couple of very nice overtakes that were also very hard to do. So, yeah, it was exciting. And, yeah, I messed up my qualifying. I think I had pace for podium today, but unfortunately I didn't get a good qualifying time. So, yeah, that's it. But anyway, it was exciting.
It was certainly exciting to watch from the booth. So with your not having the best qualifying, did that change your mindset going into the race? Were you sort of on full attack mode, or was it a little bit more of a wait and see kind of approach that you were facing out there?
Well, in the beginning it was more like wait and see, but after I was able to pass Uwe, I started really pushing hard and also did a couple of little mistakes. But yeah, I managed to keep the car on track and gain the position, so that went actually well.
Yeah, I would say a good fourth place is not too bad. So, we head to Hockenheim next week, a little bit more of a modern circuit. Where do you think your sensibilities lie? Do you like these kind of tight and twisty confines where the room for error is very, very narrow with big consequences? Or do you like the sort of modern stuff that you can run a little bit wider if you need to?
Well, both have good sides and bad sides. And I like Hockenheim, but unfortunately I won't be there. I will be taking a little break from racing, at least 3 weeks, I think, due to summer vacation. So I won't be on my computer for 3 weeks. But yeah, I would have liked Hockenheim definitely, but yeah, unfortunately I'm doing something else next week.
Well, there you go. Well, we will be disappointed to not see you, but you got anybody you'd like to thank for this finish today?
Well, the whole CDC community, of course, and you guys for the broadcast once again.
Thank you. That was your fourth place finisher, Jukka Tolinen.
Going to take us to the end of our broadcast, but before we go, we want to thank the Lotus 79 community for another season of coverage. It's been a lot of fun, and thanks to the companies that provide the software and hardware for our broadcasts that you see listed here on your screen. Additional thanks to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Her Bandcamp is there in case you want to check out more of her work. And thanks to the team today, DJ Ryan and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Also, there's our social media outlets listed at the bottom of the screen. And if you'd like to support the channel, check out our merchandise store. It's simply simracingmerch.com/GSRC. We get a link in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a moment. As we mentioned, the next week will be at Hockenheim, July 11th at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. We have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen, so check those out. Mark them down on your calendar, including the July 4th celebrations continuing with the Absolute Beginners League. But again, not an American track at Suzuka. That'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern, so just a few moments' time. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard, and we'll see you on the track.